Hello and welcome to another macro video. The subject today is macros that you might use in non-English languages. That's what people do sometimes ask me, whether the macros can be used in other languages. In one sense, the answer is yes. All macros, or at least most, can be used in any language because if you have, say, a bit of French there, if you need to switch the word order round, then the macro that you would do it in English is the same as you would do it in French. That's a mistake there, so I want to switch those two characters round. So some macros are nothing to do with a specific language and can be used in any language. However, I do have some macros which were specifically written for particular languages, and then we have some what I would call language related issues, and that's mainly to do with accents. Then we've also got some macros which in a sense can be used in any language because you can customize them for your own particular language. And I'll start with the third one, and they are what we call what I call anyway, content-free macros, and the two obvious ones are threadit and multi-switch. So in each case, it depends on you what words you put in your switch list or in your threadit list as to what they do in the particular document. So if we take a silly example, this is French. I have set up some extra words in my threadit list, and so if I bring the threadit list in and perhaps make it a bit bigger, you'll be able to see. So I have set it up so that I can run a multi-switch on that, and it'll change vo into your, and functional, it changes the do work, and they in d'autres langues. Okay, so what the macro actually does depends on what you've got in your list, and you can set up your list accordingly. Similarly with threadit, obviously if you're working on a book which is in another language, then your words that need changing globally through the document would be set up within your threadit list for your own language. And let's move now to what we call ones which are for specific languages. One of the most common ones that I get asked for are ones related to using Google Fetch, or at least to create macros, please, they say, to work for different websites. So for example, we've got Google Fetch Germany and Google Fetch Quotes Germany. There was a set of German editors who were asking for help, so a lot of these are German related, so the thesaurus and dictionary and so on, and I've got several which are for some of the Dutch websites, so those are set up. In theory, you can do any of these yourself. You can adjust the macro to work for any website, but it's not an easy thing to do. So if you've got particular websites that you want to fetch from, then you can use those. So that's that. So if we move to accents, language related macros, we've got one called accentalize, which looks through the words that some of which are accented or not, or maybe have different accents. Then it looks through the list of words and will pull out any of these funny ones where there's a difference between them, and tell you how frequently they occur. However, for this one you have to start with a word frequency list, so you do need something to produce that word frequency list in the first place. That's too big a job for a macro, so you have to use something like TextStat, which you can get off the internet. However, I am thinking of trying to produce a macro-only version of Accentalize, so that you don't have to actually go through and do a frequency list first and then run the macro on the frequency list. But if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll see if I can get on to creating that version of Accentalize. A sort of related macro is one that does just look straight at the macro text that you've got, the word text that you've got, and it looks through a text and finds, pulls out a list of all the different words that occur somewhere in the document that have accents within them. So, alright, accents to characters. The idea here is this is applying accents, so there are different macros for applying different accents. So the so if we try char to acute, if I run that macro, it goes along the line, finds the next vowel and applies an acute to it. I know it shouldn't apply to an O, but it just illustrates the idea. So if I use char to umlaut, which I think is that one, yeah, it puts an umlaut on the A. I was looking at the U, but anyway. So those will ways of applying accents to characters where they aren't yet accented. There's even one for macron, which is right. So now the next one, I just want to show you the sort of English version from which a Dutch, specific Dutch language macro was produced. You may know the verb changer macro, which is one where you say you've got having, and you actually, it's meant to be have, so you click it and it will change it. I mean, it's any word, so change would go to changing, or if it's already ing, then the same macro will change it back. And you can also, if you want, if that's meant to be for placing, if you select to, then it changes the whole thing there. Or if it's that one, if I don't select it and run the macro, then it goes to pick. Okay, anyway, that's by the by. So that's that was the English one, and my Dutch colleagues wanted the equivalent for them, and the thing they wanted was to change future tense into present perfect. So let's move that out of the way. Okay, so it relates to two verbs, worden and zijn, and what they had to do to get me to be able to produce the macro was to tell me what words needed to be changed to what within a sentence to make the change they wanted. So they gave me some before and afters with the words underlined to show me which word, what needed changing. So we can have a play with that. So if I put the track changes on, then I click in that sentence and I run the macro, then as you can see, if I expand, so it's deleted the worden and put in instead of zal, it's put vert, or however you pronounce it. So that's the next one, so that does that, and that one, and it's also with the zijn, so in this sentence here, that does that, and that one's the next one, so that does that. I don't understand the language, but the Dutch editors told me what to do, and so I was able to produce the two macros for them. The one I was doing there was just the straight verb changer. Verb changer global means that it changes the whole, it goes through every sentence in the whole document and changes them all in that pattern. Okie dokie. We've now got some stuff about quotes. You may well know the punctuation to type macros. So punctuation to a single quote would go along the line, well, they're already singles, let's do double, punctuation to double. Oh, I don't want the track changing on, do we? So let's just undo that. So undo that. So double, there, 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 and there. Single, donk, donk, donk. Okay, but we can. We've now got a German version, and also having done the German version for some German editors, I've then just thought, well, at the same time, I might as well do the French one. Nobody actually asked for it, but so if we try the German one, which is this one, I think. Yeah. So you've got the singles, and then try again with the doubles. Okay. Then if I show you the French one, which I can do that by getting up the macro is punctuation 2. So if I find it here, I want P, don't I? Punctuation 2. So there's the German one, and the way it's set up is that the Unicode character for an open quote and for a closed quote are there. So if I change them to the French ones, then that same macro will do the French ones. Where's the other one? Back again to here. So if I take those quotes out, then I'll get the French one. So put that away. So I've now should get French ones, single and double. There we go. Okay, that's it for now. If you have any ideas for other language-specific macros you want, then do drop me an email and we'll see what we can do. Okay, thanks for watching.